Need something clinically calming to help you drift off? You've found the perfect prescription. This video is part of a methodical, alphabetical sleep series where we explore precise, technical, and surprisingly melodic medical terminology, beginning with the letter A. It's intentionally clinical, refreshingly systematic, and unexpectedly therapeutic. No urgent beeping, no dramatic diagnoses, just a steady, professional voice and medical vocabulary designed to ease your mind into restful recovery. Perfect for medical students, healthcare workers, or anyone who finds true crime podcasts too thrilling. Let's begin. Arscog-Scott syndrome, a rare, inherited, X-linked disease characterized by short stature, facial abnormalities, skeletal and genital anomalies. Abdomen, the part of the body between the chest and pelvis, which contains most of the tube-like organs of the digestive tract, as well as several solid organs. Abdominal external oblique muscle, the largest and outermost of the three flat muscles of the lateral anterior abdominal wall. Abdominal internal oblique muscle, a muscle of the abdominal wall which lies below the external oblique and just above the transverse abdominal muscles. Abductor pollicis brevis muscle, a muscle in the hand that abducts, straightens the thumb. Abductor pollicis longus muscle, one of the extrinsic muscles of the hand. Its major function is to abduct the thumb at the wrist. Abscess, a collection of pus that has built up within the tissue of the body. Accommodation, the process by which the eye focuses on an object. Accommodation reflex, a reflex action of the eye, measured as a response to focusing on a near object, then looking at a distant object, and vice versa. Acetabulum, a concave surface of the pelvis, which forms the pelvic section of the hip joint. Achilles tendon, a tendon of the back of the leg and the thickest in the human body. It attaches the plantaris, gastrocnemius, calf, and soleus muscles to the calcaneus, heel bone. Acne, a long-term skin disease that occurs when hair follicles are clogged with dead skin cells and oil from the skin. Acne vulgaris, see acne. Acupressure, an alternative medicine technique where pressure is applied to acupuncture points. Pressure may be applied by hand, by elbow, or with various devices. Acupuncture, a form of alternative medicine in which thin needles are inserted into the body. Adam's apple, the lump or protrusion that is formed by the angle of the thyroid cartilage surrounding the larynx, seen especially in males. Adaptive immune system, also known as the acquired immune system or more rarely as the specific immune system, is a subsystem of the overall immune system that is composed of highly specialized systemic cells and processes that eliminate pathogens or prevent their growth. Adenoma, a benign tumor of epithelial tissue with glandular origin, glandular characteristics, or both. Adrenal gland. The adrenal glands, also known as suprarenal glands, are endocrine glands that produce a variety of hormones including adrenaline and the steroids, aldosterone and cortisol. They're found above the kidneys. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Allergy. Allergies, also known as allergic diseases, are a number of conditions caused by hypersensitivity of the immune system to typically harmless substances in the environment. These diseases include hay fever, food allergies, atopic dermatitis, allergic asthma, and anaphylaxis. Alzheimer's disease, a chronic neurodegenerative disease that usually starts slowly and worsens over time. It is the cause of 60 to 70% of cases of dementia. The most common early symptom is difficulty in remembering recent events, short-term memory loss. Anal canal is the terminal part of the large intestine. It is situated between the rectum and anus, below the level of the pelvic diaphragm. In humans, it is approximately 2.5 to 4 centimeters long. Anatomy is the branch of biology concerned with the study of the structure of organisms and their parts. Anatomy is a branch of natural science which deals with the structural organization of living things. Anesthesiology, anesthesia, or anesthetics is the medical specialty concerned with the total perioperative care of patients before, during, and after surgery. Angiology is the medical specialty which studies the diseases of the circulatory system and of the lymphatic system, i.e., arteries, veins, and lymphatic vessels, and its diseases. Ankle, the ankle or the talocrural region, is the region where the foot and the leg meet. The ankle includes 3 joints: the ankle joint proper or talocrural joint, the subtalar joint, and the inferior tibiofibular joint. Anterior tibial artery. The anterior tibial artery of the leg carries blood to the anterior compartment of the leg and dorsal surface of the foot from the popliteal artery. Antibiotic is a type of antimicrobial substance active against bacteria and is the most important type of antibacterial agent for fighting bacterial infections. Antibiotic medications are widely used in the treatment and prevention of such infections. Antibody, also known as an immunoglobulin, e.g., is a large Y-shaped protein produced mainly by plasma cells that is used by the immune system to neutralize pathogens such as pathogenic bacteria and viruses. Aorta is the main artery in the human body, originating from the left ventricle of the heart and extending down to the abdomen, where it splits into 2 smaller arteries, the common iliac arteries. The aorta distributes oxygenated blood to all parts of the body through the systemic circulation. Appendix. The appendix, or vermiform appendix, also cecal or caecal appendix, vermix or vermiform process, is a finger-like blind-ended tube connected to the cecum from which it develops in the embryo. Arm is the part of the upper limb between the glenohumeral joint, shoulder joint, and the elbow joint. In common usage, the arm extends to the hand. Arteriole is a small diameter blood vessel in the microcirculation that extends and branches out from an artery and leads to capillaries. Artery is a blood vessel that takes blood away from the heart to all parts of the body, tissues, lungs, etc. Most arteries carry oxygenated blood. Arthritis is a term often used to mean any disorder that affects joints. Symptoms generally include joint pain and stiffness. Asperger syndrome, also known as Asperger's, is a developmental disorder characterized by significant difficulties in social interaction and nonverbal communication, along with restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior and interests. Asthma is a common long-term inflammatory disease of the airways of the lungs. It is characterized by variable and recurring symptoms, reversible airflow obstruction, and bronchospasm. Atony, absence of muscle tone. Atrial fibrillation, an abnormal heart rhythm characterized by rapid and irregular beating of the atria. Often it starts as brief periods of abnormal beating, which become longer and possibly constant over time. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a mental disorder of the neurodevelopmental type. It is characterized by problems paying attention, excessive activity, or difficulty controlling behavior which is not appropriate for a person's age. Auscultation is listening to the internal sounds of the body, usually using a stethoscope. Auscultation is performed for the purposes of examining the circulatory and respiratory systems, heart and breath sounds, as well as the gastrointestinal system. Autism is a developmental disorder characterized by troubles with social interaction and communication, and by restricted and repetitive behavior. Axilla. Also, armpit, underarm or oxter is the area on the human body directly under the joint where the arm connects to the shoulder. It also provides the underarm sweat gland. Axillary artery is a large blood vessel that conveys oxygenated blood to the lateral aspect of the thorax, the axilla, armpit, and the upper limb. Back. The human back is the large posterior area of the human body, rising from the top of the buttocks to the back of the neck and the shoulders. Back pain is pain felt in the back. It is divided into neck pain, cervical, middle back pain, thoracic, lower back pain, lumbar, or coccydynia, tailbone or sacral pain, based on the segment affected. Barotrauma is injury caused by a pressure difference between tissues and a gas-filled space. Basal anatomy in the direction of the base, antonym apical, basal, physiology, lowest sustained level or minimum level required, as in basal metabolic rate. Beta cell. Beta cells are a type of cell found in pancreatic islets that synthesize and secrete insulin. Beta cells make up 50 to 70% of the cells in human islets. Biceps. Also biceps brachii, Latin for two-headed muscle of the arm, is a large muscle that lies on the front of the upper arm between the shoulder and the elbow. Bile duct is any of a number of long tube-like structures that carry bile. Bile, required for the digestion of food, is secreted by the liver into passages that carry bile toward the hepatic duct. Biliary tract. The biliary tract, biliary tree or biliary system, refers to the liver, gallbladder and bile ducts and how they work together to make, store and secrete bile. Binge eating disorder is an eating disorder characterized by frequent and recurrent binge eating episodes with associated negative psychological and social problems, but without subsequent purging episodes. Biological engineering, or bioengineering, is the application of principles of biology and the tools of engineering to create usable, tangible, economically viable products. Biology is the natural science that studies life and living organisms, including their physical structure, chemical processes, molecular interactions, physiological mechanisms, development and evolution. Biochemistry, sometimes called biological chemistry, is the study of chemical processes within and relating to living organisms. Bioinformatics is an interdisciplinary field that develops methods and software tools for understanding biological data. Biopsy is a medical test commonly performed by a surgeon, interventional radiologist, or an interventional cardiologist involving extraction of sample cells or tissues for examination to determine the presence or extent of a disease. Biostatistics are the application of statistics to a wide range of topics in biology. It encompasses the design of biological experiments, especially in medicine, pharmacy, agriculture and fishery. Bipolar disorder is a mental disorder that causes periods of depression and periods of abnormally elevated mood. Birth control, also known as contraception and fertility control, is a method or device used to prevent pregnancy. Bladder cancer is any of several types of cancer arising from the tissues of the urinary bladder. It is a disease in which cells grow abnormally and have the potential to spread to other parts of the body. Blood pressure is the pressure of circulating blood on the walls of blood vessels. Used without further specification, blood pressure usually refers to the pressure in large arteries of the systemic circulation. Blood vessel. The blood vessels are the part of the circulatory system and microcirculation that transports blood throughout the human body. Bone is a rigid organ that constitutes part of the vertebrate skeleton. Bones support and protect the various organs of the body, produce red and white blood cells, store minerals, provide structure and support for the body, and enable mobility. Bone marrow is a semi-solid tissue which may be found within the spongy or cancellous portions of bones. Bone marrow is the primary site of new blood cell production, or hematopoiesis. Brachial artery is the major blood vessel of the upper arm. It is the continuation of the axillary artery beyond the lower margin of teres major muscle. Brachial plexus is a network of nerves formed by the ventral rami of the lower 4 cervical nerves and first thoracic nerve. This plexus extends from the spinal cord through the cervicoaxillary canal in the neck, over the first rib and into the armpit. Bradycardia is a condition typically defined wherein an individual has a resting heart rate of under 60 beats per minute, BPM, in adults. Brain. The human brain is the central organ of the human nervous system, and with the spinal cord makes up the central nervous system. The brain consists of the cerebrum, the brainstem, and the cerebellum. Brain tumour occurs when abnormal cells form within the brain. There are 2 main types of tumours, malignant or cancerous tumours and benign tumours. Breast. The breast is one of 2 prominences located on the upper ventral region of the torso of primates. In females, it serves as the mammary gland, which produces and secretes milk to feed infants. Breast cancer is cancer that develops from breast tissue. Signs of breast cancer may include a lump in the breast, a change in breast shape, dimpling of the skin, fluid coming from the nipple. Bronchiole. The bronchioles or bronchioli are the passageways by which air passes through the nose or mouth to the alveoli, air sacs, of the lungs, in which branches no longer contain cartilage or glands in their submucosa. Bronchus. A bronchi is a passage of airway in the respiratory system that conducts air into the lungs. The first bronchi to branch from the trachea are the right main bronchus and the left main bronchus. Bulimia nervosa, also known as simply bulimia, is an eating disorder characterized by binge eating followed by purging. Binge eating refers to eating a large amount of food in a short amount of time. Calcium. Calcium ions, calcium 2+, contribute to the physiology and biochemistry of organisms and the cell. They play an important role in signal transduction pathways, where they act as a second messenger. Cancer is a group of diseases involving abnormal cell growth with the potential to invade or spread to other parts of the body. Capillary is a small blood vessel from 5 to 10 micrometers in diameter and having a wall 1 endothelial cell thick. They are the smallest blood vessels in the body. Carcinogen is any substance, radionuclide or radiation that promotes carcinogenesis, the formation of cancer. Cardiac arrest, a sudden loss of blood flow resulting from the failure of the heart to effectively pump. Symptoms include loss of consciousness and abnormal or absent breathing. Cardiac muscle, also called heart muscle or myocardium, is one of 3 types of vertebrate muscles, with the other 2 being skeletal and smooth muscles. Cardiology is a branch of medicine dealing with disorders of the heart as well as parts of the circulatory system. Cardiovascular disease is a class of diseases that involve the heart or blood vessels. CVD includes coronary artery diseases, CAD, such as angina and myocardial infarction. Carotid artery. In anatomy, the left and right common carotid arteries, carotids, are arteries that supply the head and neck with oxygenated blood. Carpal tunnel syndrome is a medical condition due to compression of the median nerve as it travels through the wrist at the carpal tunnel. Cartilage is a resilient and smooth elastic tissue, a rubber-like padding that covers and protects the ends of long bones at the joints. Catheter is a thin tube made from medical-grade material serving a broad range of functions. Catheters are medical devices that can be inserted in the body to treat diseases or perform a surgical procedure. Central nervous system is the part of the nervous system consisting of the brain and spinal cord. Cerebellum, Latin for little brain, is a major feature of the hindbrain of all vertebrates. In humans, the cerebellum plays an important role in motor control. Cerebrum is a large part of the brain containing the cerebral cortex of the two cerebral hemispheres, as well as several subcortical structures. Cervical cancer is a cancer arising from the cervix. It is due to the abnormal growth of cells that have the ability to invade or spread to other parts of the body. Cervix, or cervix uteri, is the lower part of the uterus in the human female reproductive system. The cervix is usually 2 to 3 centimeters long and roughly cylindrical in shape. Chronic fatigue syndrome, also referred to as myalgic encephalomyelitis, ME, is a medical condition characterized by long-term fatigue and other persistent symptoms that limit a person's ability to carry out ordinary daily activities. Circulatory system, also called the cardiovascular system or the vascular system, is an organ system that permits blood to circulate and transport nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones and blood cells to and from the cells in the body. Clavicle, also known as the collarbone, is a long bone that serves as a strut between the shoulder blade and the sternum. Clinic, or outpatient clinic or ambulatory care clinic, is a healthcare facility that is primarily focused on the care of outpatients. Clinical research is a branch of healthcare science that determines the safety and effectiveness, efficacy of medications, devices, diagnostic products and treatment regimens intended for human use. Celiac disease. Celiac disease or celiac disease is a long-term autoimmune disorder that primarily affects the small intestine. Classic symptoms include gastrointestinal problems such as chronic diarrhea, abdominal distension, malabsorption. Common cold, also known simply as a cold, is a viral infectious disease of the upper respiratory tract that primarily affects the nose. Depression, also called major depressive disorder, MDD, is a mental disorder characterized by at least 2 weeks of pervasive low mood. Diabetes is a group of metabolic disorders characterized by a high blood sugar level over a prolonged period of time. Diagnosis is the identification of the nature and cause of a certain phenomenon. Diarrhea, also spelled diarrhea, is the condition of having at least 3 loose, liquid, or watery bowel movements each day. Digestive system, also known as the gastrointestinal tract, GI tract, GIT, digestive tract, digestion tract, alimentary canal, is the tract from the mouth to the anus. Disease is a particular abnormal condition that negatively affects the structure or function of all or part of an organism. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is a molecule composed of 2 polynucleotide chains that coil around each other to form a double helix carrying genetic instructions. Drug is any substance other than food that provides nutritional support that, when inhaled, injected, smoked, consumed, absorbed via a patch on the skin, or dissolved under the tongue, causes a temporary physiological change in the body. Ear is the organ that enables hearing and, in mammals, balance. In mammals, the ear is usually described as having 3 parts. ECG, electrocardiogram, also known as an EKG, is a test that detects and records the strength and timing of the electrical activity of the heart. Edema, also known as fluid retention, dropsy, hydropsy and swelling, is the build-up of fluid in the body's tissue. Emergency medicine is the medical speciality concerned with the care of illnesses or injuries requiring immediate medical attention. Endocrine system is a messenger system comprising feedback loops of the hormones released by internal glands of an organism directly into the circulatory system. Epidemiology is the study and analysis of the distribution, who, when and where, patterns and determinants of health and disease conditions in defined populations. Epilepsy is a group of neurological disorders characterized by recurrent epileptic seizures. Eye is an organ that detects light and converts it into electrochemical impulses in neurons. Fever, also known as pyrexia and febrile response, is defined as having a temperature above the normal range due to an increase in the body's temperature set point. Fracture, also known as a broken bone, is a medical condition in which there is a partial or complete break in the continuity of the bone. Gastroenterology is the branch of medicine focused on the digestive system and its disorders. Gene is the basic physical and functional unit of heredity. Genes are made up of DNA. Genetics is a branch of biology concerned with the study of genes, genetic variation, and heredity in organisms. Geriatrics is a medical specialty focused on providing care for the unique health needs of older adults. Gynecology is the medical practice dealing with the health of the female reproductive system. Hand is a prehensile, multi-fingered appendage located at the end of the forearm or forelimb of primates such as humans, chimpanzees, monkeys, and lemurs. Head is anatomically defined as the part of the body containing the brain and organs of special sense. Heart is a muscular organ in most animals which pumps blood through the blood vessels of the circulatory system. Heart attack, also known as a myocardial infarction, MI, occurs when blood flow decreases or stops to a part of the heart, causing damage to the heart muscle. Hematology is the branch of medicine concerned with the study of the cause, prognosis, treatment, and prevention of diseases related to blood. Hepatitis is inflammation of the liver. The condition can be self-limiting or can progress to fibrosis scarring, cirrhosis, or liver cancer. Hip is the anatomical region and the joint in humans and quadrupeds situated where the thigh bone, femur, meets the pelvis. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, is a retrovirus that attacks the immune system. Hormone is any member of a class of signaling molecules in multicellular organisms that are transported by intricate biological processes to distant organs to regulate physiology and behavior. Hospital is a healthcare institution providing patient treatment with specialized health science and auxiliary healthcare staff and medical equipment. Hypertension, also known as high blood pressure, HBP, is a long-term medical condition in which the blood pressure in the arteries is persistently elevated. Hypertension is low blood pressure. Blood pressure is the force of blood pushing against the walls of the arteries as the heart pumps out blood. Immune system is a host defense system comprising many biological structures and processes within an organism that protects against disease. Immunology is a branch of medicine and biology that covers the study of immune systems in all organisms. Infection is the invasion of an organism's body tissues by disease-causing agents, their multiplication, and the reaction of host tissues to the infectious agents and the toxins they produce. Inflammation is a biological response of body tissues to harmful stimuli, such as pathogens, damaged cells, or irritants. Influenza, commonly known as the flu, is an infectious disease caused by an influenza virus. Injection is the act of putting a liquid, especially a drug, into a person's body using a needle, usually a hypodermic needle, and a syringe. Injury, also known as physical trauma, is damage to the body caused by external force. Insulin is a peptide hormone produced by beta cells of the pancreatic islets. It is considered to be the main anabolic hormone of the body. Internal medicine or general internal medicine is the medical specialty dealing with the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of internal diseases. Joint is the location at which two or more bones make contact. They are constructed to allow for different degrees and types of movement. Kidney are two reddish-brown bean-shaped organs found in vertebrates. They are located on the left and right in the retroperitoneal space, and in adult humans are about 12 centimeters in length. Larynx, often called the voice box, is an organ in the top of the neck involved in breathing, producing sound and protecting the trachea against food aspiration. Leg is the entire lower limb of the human body, including the foot, thigh, and even the hip or gluteal region. Liver is an organ only found in vertebrates, which detoxifies various metabolites, synthesizes proteins, and produces biochemicals necessary for digestion and growth. Lung are the primary organs of the respiratory system in humans and many other animals, including a few fish and some snails. Lymph is a colorless fluid containing white blood cells that bathes the tissues of the body and drains through the lymphatic system. Magnetic resonance imaging is a medical imaging technique used in radiology to form pictures of the anatomy and the physiological processes of the body. Malaria is a mosquito-borne infectious disease that affects humans and other animals. Medicine is the science and practice of caring for a patient, managing the diagnosis, prognosis, prevention, treatment, palliation of their injury or disease, and promoting their health. Mental health encompasses emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It influences cognition, perception, and behavior. Metabolism is the set of life-sustaining chemical reactions in organisms. Migraine is a primary headache disorder characterized by recurrent headaches that are moderate to severe. MRI, magnetic resonance, imaging is a medical imaging technique used in radiology to form pictures of the anatomy and the physiological processes of the body. Muscle is a soft tissue found in most animals. Muscle cells contain protein filaments of actin and myosin that slide past one another, producing a contraction that changes both the length and the shape of the cell. Myocardial infarction, commonly known as a heart attack, occurs when blood flow decreases or stops to a part of the heart, causing damage to the heart muscle. Neck is the part of the body on many vertebrates that connects the head with the torso and provides the mobility and movements of the head. Nephrology is a specialty of adult internal medicine and pediatric medicine that concerns the study of the kidneys, specifically normal kidney function, renal physiology, and kidney disease, renal pathophysiology. Nerve is an enclosed cable-like bundle of nerve fibers called axons in the peripheral nervous system. Nervous system is the part of an animal's body that coordinates its actions and transmits signals to and from different parts of its body. Neurology is a branch of medicine dealing with disorders of the nervous system. Neurosurgery, or neurological surgery, is the medical specialty concerned with the prevention, diagnosis, surgical treatment, and rehabilitation of disorders which affect any portion of the nervous system. Nose is the protuberance in vertebrates that houses the nostrils, or nares, which receive and expel air for respiration alongside the mouth. Nurse is a person who is trained to give care to people who are sick or injured. Nutrition is the science that interprets the nutrients and other substances in food in relation to maintenance, growth, reproduction, health, and disease of an organism. Obesity is a medical condition in which excess body fat has accumulated to the extent that it may have a negative effect on health. Obstetrics is the field of study concentrated on pregnancy, childbirth, and the postpartum period. Oncology is a branch of medicine that deals with the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of cancer. Ophthalmology is the branch of medicine that deals with the anatomy, physiology, and diseases of the eyeball and orbit. Organ is a collection of tissues that structurally form a functional unit specialized to perform a particular function. Orthopedics is the medical specialty that focuses on injuries and diseases of your body's musculoskeletal system. Otolaryngology is a medical specialty which is focused on the ears, nose, and throat. Pain is a distressing feeling often caused by intense or damaging stimuli. Pancreas is an organ located in the abdomen. It plays an essential role in converting the food we eat into fuel for the body's cells. Pathology is the study of the causes and effects of disease or injury. Patient is any recipient of healthcare services that are performed by healthcare professionals. Pediatrics is the branch of medicine that involves the medical care of infants, children, and adolescents. Pharmacology is a branch of medicine, biology, and pharmaceutical sciences concerned with drug or medication action. Physical therapy, also known as physiotherapy, is one of the healthcare professions. Physician is a professional who practices medicine, which is concerned with promoting, maintaining, or restoring health through the study, diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment of disease, injury, and other physical and mental impairments. Physiology is the scientific study of functions and mechanisms in a living system. Pneumonia is an inflammatory condition of the lung primarily affecting the small air sacs known as alveoli. Pregnancy is the time during which one or more offspring develops inside a woman. Psychiatry is the medical specialty devoted to the diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of mental disorders. Psychology is the scientific study of mind and behavior. Pulmonology is a medical specialty that deals with diseases involving the respiratory tract. Pulse is the rhythmic throbbing of blood vessels as blood is propelled through them, typically as felt in the wrists or neck. Radiology is the medical discipline that uses medical imaging to diagnose and treat diseases within the bodies of animals and humans. Rehabilitation is the process of helping a person who has suffered an illness or injury restore lost skills and so regain maximum self-sufficiency. Respiratory system is a biological system consisting of specific organs and structures used for gas exchange in animals and plants. Rheumatology is a branch of medicine devoted to the diagnosis and therapy of rheumatic diseases. Shoulder is the group of structures in the region of the joint between the arm and the torso. Skin is the largest organ of the human body. The skin and its derivatives, hair, nails, sweat, and oil glands, make up the integumentary system. Sleep is a naturally recurring state of mind and body, characterized by altered consciousness, relatively inhibited sensory activity, inhibition of nearly all voluntary muscles, and reduced interactions with surroundings. Spinal cord is a long, thin, tubular structure made up of nervous tissue, which extends from the medulla oblongata in the brainstem to the lumbar region of the vertebral column. Stomach is a muscular, hollow organ in the gastrointestinal tract of humans and many other animals, including several invertebrates. Stroke is a medical condition in which poor blood flow to the brain causes cell death. Surgery is a medical specialty that uses operative manual and instrumental techniques on a patient to investigate or treat a pathological condition such as a disease or injury. Symptom is a physical or mental feature which is regarded as indicating a condition of disease, particularly such a feature that is apparent to the patient. Temperature. Body temperature is the general temperature of the human body. Therapy is the attempted remediation of a health problem, usually following a medical diagnosis. Tissue is a group of cells that have similar structure and that function together as a unit. Tooth is a hard, calcified structure found in the jaws or mouths of many vertebrates and used to break down food. Treatment in medicine is the management and care of a patient to combat disease or disorder. Tuberculosis is an infectious disease usually caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, MTB, bacteria. Tumor is an abnormal growth of tissue which may be benign or malignant, cancerous. Ultrasound is sound waves with frequencies higher than the upper audible limit of human hearing. Urology is the branch of medicine that focuses on surgical and medical diseases of the male and female urinary tract system and the male reproductive organs. Vaccine is a biological preparation that provides active acquired immunity to a particular infectious disease. Vascular surgery is a surgical subspecialty in which diseases of the vascular system, or arteries, veins, and lymphatic circulation, are managed by medical therapy, minimally invasive catheter procedures, and surgical reconstruction. Vein is an elastic blood vessel that transports blood from various regions of the body to the heart. Virus is a submicroscopic infectious agent that replicates only inside the living cells of an organism. Vitamin is an organic molecule, or a set of molecules closely related chemically, vitamins, that is an essential micronutrient which an organism needs in small quantities for the proper functioning of its metabolism. Weight is the force acting on the object due to gravity. Wound is a type of injury which happens relatively quickly in which skin is torn, cut, or punctured. An open wound, or where blunt force trauma causes a contusion, a closed wound. X-ray is a form of electromagnetic radiation similar to visible light. Yoga is a group of physical, mental, and spiritual practices or disciplines which originated in ancient India. Zoonosis is an infectious disease caused by a pathogen, an infectious agent such as a bacterium, virus, parasite, or prion, that has jumped from a non-human animal, usually a vertebrate, to a human. And that concludes our measured examination of medical terminology beginning with A. I trust these precise definitions and clinical descriptions have provided the therapeutic calm your mind needed tonight. Let these scientific terms settle gently in your thoughts as your body begins its natural healing process during sleep. Rest well and allow your mind to recover completely.